Hi, my name is Mapule, a personal trainer, and today I'm going to be taking you through one of those challenging exercises that even my clients struggle with, and you've guessed it, we'll be learning deadlifts. So what is a deadlift? Okay, it is a hip dominant movement that works a lot of muscle groups, your quads, your hamstrings, your glutes, your core, your traps. And I absolutely love this exercise because it's quite complex, and I would advise anybody to incorporate this exercise in their workout if they wanna level up. This is Adidas Real Strength, a series where you get real strength training from trainers who are passionate about elevating your strength training journey. Okay, let's dive straight into the warm-up. As you all know, my favorite warm-up, especially for the legs, is the lateral lunges. Obviously, to activate those big muscle groups, you want to do the lateral lunges, side to side. Look at how my heels are placed. And then I like the second one because I get to open up my hips nicely using my elbows, pushing the knees out, because it's important when you articulate the movement. You'll see you need a lot of external rotation from the knees so that they don't collapse. And you also articulate the movement properly. I would do a lot of hip rotation movements because the exercises that we're going to be doing, they require hip hinge movements, so you want the hips to be nice and warm for the workout. I like the opening because what it does is also activate your glute minimus, which you will have to, with the external rotation, always have to make sure that they are activated so that you release much of the tension from the lower back. A lot of the times when you don't do the external rotation with the knees, you find that you feel a pain on your lower back, but not like the workout pain, but like that discomfort, and we don't want that. Your warm-up is very crucial because we want to make sure that we prevent any injury. And before we dive straight into the exercise, what I do, I will obviously mimic the movement without using any weights, just to see my foot placement, my hands, how I feel going up and down. Do I have enough space? Do I feel comfortable? Okay, now we're going to dive straight into conventional deadlifts, which a lot of people struggle with. But today, say no more. I'm going to teach you how to articulate this movement properly. So get into position, feet shoulder width apart or hip width apart, right? And then now you want to grab the bar from the outside of the knees. Make sure that the grip is solid. Ground your heel. So as you sit, you want to make sure that you keep a neutral spine, and then you engage the core before you initiate the movement. You grab the bar and you're going to control it up. So one thing I want you to pay attention is the external rotation of the knees. You push the knees out. Make sure that the alignment from the knee to your toe, as you're going down, you want to make sure that your knees do not go over your toes, just in line with your toes. Grab the bar and drive it from the shins. You want to activate the core. Have one spot that you look at just to maintain a neutral spine, and activate the core before you lift, and exhale on the lifting because that's the hard part. You want to breathe as you go down and exhale as you're lifting. The one thing about the activation or the external rotation of the knee is that it's going to activate the glutes, which will release much tension from the lower back. This exercise, it targets a lot of muscle groups, which is your glutes, your lower back, your traps, and your hamstrings. It removes a lot of tension off of your quads. So you can just lift all the way up and squeeze the glutes as you come up. Control. One advice that I can give you is, if you want to learn how to do these movements properly, you want to start with the lighter weight and slowly, progressively overload once you master the technique. Another thing is be mindful of what you are, the gear that you're using. A lot of the times people struggle to do these movements properly, or they are prone to injuries because they're wearing the wrong shoes. Nice thing about the drop set 3, your feet are going to be grounded. You'll actually feel like you are doing the movements barefoot because it's grounded. And you can actually feel that, okay, my heels are placed nicely. And yeah, and lift all the way up, squeeze, and go down. Engage those muscles. Keep the back nice and straight, core nice and tight. Make sure those knees are placed in alignment with those elbows. Push them out and release. Yeah, there we go. Don't forget to breathe. So now we move to one of those exercises that also they're a bit tricky, especially when we're dealing with the lower back, and a lot of people need to learn how to do the hip hinge movement. With the Romanian deadlift, popularly known as RDLs, when you look at the conventional, our feet were a little bit wider, but now we're moving into the RDL. You bring your feet a little bit closer together and keep the bar closer to the shins as you're driving down and driving all the way up. You want to make sure you keep the external rotation of the knee. You hip hinge and make sure that it's a less knee flexion. It's not like you're not bending your knees too much, but you slightly, softly bend your knees and hip hinge, push all the way back. Keep the heels grounded. Bring the butt mid-shin and all the way up. I mean, if you can go a little bit lower, good for you. But also make sure that you use a lighter weight so that you can get comfortable. Open up the hips. Like I said, I am emphasizing on the external rotation of the knees because a lot of people let their knees collapse. And you end up not articulating the movement properly and you end up rounding your back. It's very important that you activate those back muscles. Tighten the core and lift all the way up. And the RDLs primarily target your posterior chain, which is your lower back, your glutes, and your hamstrings. But there's less tension on your quads, which is a lot of people be like, oh, when I'm trying to grow my glutes, but my quads are growing more. This is the best exercise if you want to make sure you remove the tension off of the quads and everything is primarily posterior chain, which is your glutes, lower back, and hamstrings. Okay, let's dive into our Sumo Deadlift. So before you start, you want to make sure you widen the stance. It's wider. And another thing is you point your toes out. Actually, this is one of the ladies' favorite exercises that they've been doing a lot of, because obviously you want to target the inner thighs and grow the glutes. So this is a perfect exercise to add into your leg workout. What you do, you're going to bring the arms in between your legs and grab the bar. Actually, ground your heels, maintain the position of the knees pointing out. So your knees must be in line with the toes, exactly same direction as you go down. Because a lot of times people, their knees collapse and you want to make sure that they never collapse. You want to drive the bar, keep them closer, keep the bar closer to the shins all the time when you're articulating these movements. Back nice and straight, core nice and tight. Squeeze, open the knees, external rotation. Then squeeze the glutes, go all the way down. Keep the heels grounded. Pull, exhale as you lift, shoot, and release. The nice thing, like I said, the emphasis of one of this exercises emphasizes the contraction on the inner thighs and the glutes. So if that's your goal, one of my favorite and the best exercise to actually go to. Okay, then we're gonna move to my absolute favorite. I love unilateral movements because a lot of the times when you use both legs, you find people saying, oh, my right leg is stronger than my left leg. It's because when you're pushing, you're not mindful that your weight distribution is probably on the right or on the left. So what happens is you end up compensating or overusing one side instead of using both sides. What I love about doing unilateral movements is because that each muscle can work individually without getting assistance from the other side. When you do this movement, it's very tricky. When you use the same side, you will have to make sure that you keep your hips square. But what I like about using the opposite side is for the weight distribution. If you look at what I'm doing, I'm twisting my hips a little bit into the opposite direction so that my back is nice and straight. I'm not focusing too much on the leg that I'm lifting because we're working the leg that's on the floor. That's grounded. Look at how I'm pushing my knee out as I'm articulating the movement because I really want to feel it on my hamstrings and my glutes. You can see the external rotation that I do with my knee all the time to make sure that I release, obviously, the tension from the lower back and grounding my heel. It's much better when you're wearing the right shoes. Actually, it makes a huge difference. A lot of the times people use running shoes where there isn't much stability, but if you look at what I'm doing, you can see my ankle, there's so much ankle stability from the drop set 3. Very grounded, very controlled movement. I'm still mindful of how I'm placing. You can see my shoulders are still square, my hips are square aligned, and I'm lifting and all the way exhale when you pull. And the breathing is important because it helps you. Obviously, you want the oxygen to go to the right ones, to the right places, including your brain. You don't want to pass out on us. So you want to make sure that you breathe as you articulate the movements. So what I normally do is I will inhale where the exercise is easier and exhale where the exercise is harder. So it makes it easier for me. But different strokes for different folks. You have to find what works for you. So even this one, you don't need to do it with a heavy weight. Do it with a light weight. Get comfortable. And the stronger you get, the better it actually gets. Even you will feel comfortable and confident. But what I can tell you is the type of gear that you're using, you have to use the right shoes to be able to articulate these movements, especially deadlifts. You have to have the right shoes. Till we meet again, I hope that helped you and looking forward to seeing you soon. Okay, deadlift experts, which you are now, obviously. So, how would you like to stand a chance to win a unique training experience with me? Without any waste of time, all you have to do is click the link on the description or scan the QR code to find out more details on how to participate. Deadlifts, deadlifts, deadlifts. I got this. Of course I got this.
Oh, really?